Twitter has been in a less than friendly spotlight in the months leading up to the 2020 American elections for several reasons. Most of them are related to perceived breaches of a user's First Amendment rights, mostly the shadow bannings of conservative accounts or fact checkings that Twitter has recently rolled out to accompany political tweets which contain data that might not be entirely factually accurate. And so in response to these perceived injustices, millions of Twitter users have flocked to Parler, a Twitter-esque social media platform which markets itself as being kind of like a Wild West for social media. There's minimal moderation, and they're saying that anyone can say anything without fear of being shadow banned or fact-checked. But 80% of the political commentators moving from Twitter to Parler are still going to run into the same issues they're facing on Twitter, as well as other social media sites like Facebook, Reddit, and YouTube. And as a result, they won't see the increased engagement that they've been promised by transitioning over to Parler. That's what this video is about. And if you watch the whole video, I'll explain why your content is being preferred by social media's algorithm, why it's set up this way, and it's not because of your political beliefs, as well as what you can do to give your posts a boost. This video will only talk about the shadow bans that conservative Twitter users have been reporting. For the viewers who don't know what a shadow ban is, just imagine your physical body, and then the relationship your shadow has with your body. Your shadow goes everywhere your body goes, but your shadow can't interact with objects your corporeal body interacts with. Your body can ride a bike, skip a rock, and drink a cup of coffee. And your shadow will go through those same motions, but it will never actually push the bike pedals. It never picks up the rock or the cup of coffee. A shadow ban is similar. You can still go through the same motions of having an active account. You can send tweets, follow your favorite celebrities, and change your profile picture. But nobody else will ever see those actions from you. Just like how your shadow can't interact with your surroundings, neither will you be able to interact with fellow Twitter users. For all intents and purposes, a shadow banned account sending a tweet is akin to them screaming into an empty void. I can certainly see how it would be frustrating to feel like you're being shadow banned over ideological differences. And maybe you are. But I like to suggest another possibility for why people aren't seeing your content. It's entirely possible that you haven't actually been shadow banned from Twitter, but that other users are simply ignoring your posts. I've personally fallen prey to this trap. I'd post political commentary on social media that got no engagement, no likes, no comments, nothing. And so for a short while, I thought I was shadow banned. But to make a long story short, I wasn't. Instead, I was suffering from a lack of good content. Once I got back into posting high quality content, the engagement slowly started flowing back in. My lack of community engagement stemmed solely from the fact that I was unable to create content that the community wanted to engage with. It wasn't pettiness or malice on the developer's part. And when people stopped responding to my posts, the algorithm started pushing all of my content down because it rightly assumed that nobody was interested in seeing them. Because, quite frankly, my posts were, they were trash. The quality of the content is what drives visibility, and quality can come from both liberal and conservative news sources. For example, the Young Turks is an absolutely garbage source of liberal information, but ContraPoints, on the other hand, is a top-notch, phenomenal liberal content creator. And on the other hand, the One American News Network is quite possibly the hottest steaming pile of trash that any commentator has ever conceived of. But the Wall Street Journal is a world premiere source of conservative journalism. And when was the last time you saw the Wall Street Journal get fact-checked on Twitter? When was the last time someone at the Wall Street Journal complained about their articles getting shadow banned? Never. Because they're high quality. If you want your content to be seen, then be the ContraPoints and Wall Street Journal of content. Don't be like the Young Turks and OAN. In a nutshell, high quality content is a type of content that fosters intelligent conversation. And yes, the algorithm can see whether the discussion around the topic is intelligent or not. And so naturally, conspiracies like Sandy Hook, Pizzagate, and Lizard People all fall into the category of low-quality content, because no amount of rationality or evidence will change a believer's mind. And no amount of tinfoilness will convince a rational person that the Illuminati are ruling the world as lizard aliens from another planet here to wage a timeless war against angels of light from the 7th dimension. Let's do a thought experiment if you're still not convinced. Imagine that you're Jack Dorsey, the CEO and co-founder of Twitter. And you know from various studies on the subject that people are much more willing to engage in social media if the topic at hand is arousing in nature, if it evokes an active sort of energy like anger, fear, anxiety, that sort of thing. Now, knowing this information and knowing that you have the ability to decide what posts make it to the top and bottom of the algorithm, do you A, hide content based solely on its political leaning regardless of its level of quality, or do you B, hide content based on its level of quality regardless of its political leaning? The answer, quite obviously, is B. Hide the low quality content that doesn't encourage engagement and push the high quality content that does encourage engagement regardless of their political leaning up to the top. People love fighting on social media about why their various political views and ideologies are correct and why everyone else is wrong. And because of this, political discourse is a social media platform's best friend. But what differentiates low-quality political posts from high-quality political posts is that low-quality political posts don't encourage any form of discussion because they're often either have no evidence backing whatever claim that they're making, or it's just some plain old conspiracy that's impossible to argue against because nothing about the conspiracy makes any sense. Make better content. I know it sounds like common sense, but I've seen the type of stuff some of you will post and then turn around and wonder why nobody's engaging with them. Shadow bans aren't occurring because of the poster's political beliefs. Someone's tweets aren't being pushed to the bottom of the algorithm because they voted for Trump. Their posts are being ignored because they're bad. They suck. They're quite literally, pun intended, shit posts.